CBS 6 News starts now.
Destruction on the streets of Cohoes.
A fire levels buildings, destroys businesses, and leaves people homeless.
It is from the worst disaster that I think the city's ever seen.
Now a man is under arrest, charged with starting the fire that has scarred the city.
Tonight, what's being done to protect the victims and why officials say this disaster could have been much, much worse.
We start this half hour with that breaking news. A state of emergency in Cohoes. Flames tearing through buildings in the heart of the city, burning some to the ground and seriously damaging more than a dozen others.
Emergency teams battled these flames for hours, fighting through what the mayor called the worst disaster the city has ever seen. Now, within the past few hours, police in Cohoes have tracked down and arrested the man they say started that fire, a resident of the building where the fire began.
The only good news, no serious injuries. We have team coverage tonight from the city of Cohoes. We're tracking the latest from City Hall and what's being done for all those people left out in the cold.
We're going to begin with Emily DeFisciani. She's live tonight near Remsen Street. And Emily, there have been some criminal developments since we last checked in with you.
Yeah, that's right, Liz and Greg. It certainly was a speedy arrest. Police announcing that they have charged 51-year-old John Gomes with arson and reckless endangerment, both felonies. Mayor Sean Moore says Gomes was burning material in a barrel behind the building where he lives on Remsen Street when heavy winds carried burning particles to other buildings that went up in flames. Police say when detectives arrived on scene, they interviewed neighbors that led them to Gomes, who police say then made statements incriminating himself in the cause of the fire. Now the mayor says while the arson may not have been intentional, he says it resulted in one of the biggest tragedies in the city's history.
We often tell people we don't allow open burns in the city, and they often say, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? Well, this open burn just caused millions of dollars in damage and has destroyed half of our downtown that we've worked so hard to rebuild.
The mayor says upwards of 20 buildings have been affected. He says staples in the community are completely destroyed. The popular restaurant Smith's is severely damaged, along with the sushi restaurant and other downtown businesses. Not to mention people's homes that have fire, smoke, and water damage. But the mayor says the city will pull through this devastation together.
Cohoes is a resilient city. We are going to rebuild, and we are going to be better than we ever have been. I know the citizens are going to depend on our leadership, and we're going to excel, and we're going to make them Cohoes proud. That's what we talk about all the time. But I just ask them to be patient because there's a lot of work to be done.
Again, for now, the mayor is asking residents to stay away from Remsen Street and the downtown area for their own safety. As for Gomes, the mayor says it appears he was trying to mimic a TV show and was trying to bend metal to make a hammer. He has already been arraigned and sent to Albany County Jail on $15,000 bail. For now, we're live in Cohoes. I'm Emily DeFisciani, CBS 6 News.
All right, Emily, thank you. We're trying to give you now a sense of where the fire happened. It started, as we said, on Remsen Street, which is right near the major roads, Route 470 and 787. And that's the Mohawk River, just miles away from the scene.
This is a look at what the area surrounding 228 Remsen Street looked like prior to the fire. The flames spread quickly throughout the afternoon, eventually reaching several other blocks of that street.
Right now, people who lived or worked in the damaged or destroyed buildings are really reeling from this, and the community is stepping up to help.
Our team coverage of the disaster in Cohoes continues right now. Lindsay DeLucia is live at a community center where those left homeless have gone for shelter. Lindsay, fill us in.
Well, Greg, it really still was a devastating day for those who had to walk through these doors behind me here at the community center. The Red Cross was initially on scene before they rounded up people who were not able to
intense. You can feel the heat.
Greg Dyer says panic set in today when flames took over his home.
It's just something you see in the news, and you just never think that this is going to happen to you. And then there is staring right on my face.
Dyer says his business partner saved his dog from the quick spreading fire, but some relics he could not save.
My mother passed away in 2015. Father passed away in 2011, so I had a lot of their stuff. And it's just heartbreaking to know that I lost it all.
The magnitude of this is unlike a lot of what we've been seeing locally lately.
The Red Cross arrived on scene early to round up those displaced.
It's just a lot of chaos and confusion trying to figure out what they're going to do tonight, and that's what we're here for.
They brought residents with nowhere to go to the Cohoes Community Center and provided food, water, and warmth, as well as money cards to pay for hotel rooms.
They need everything. I mean, for the most part, when people have these types of emergencies and they have a home fire and their home is just burned down, it's starting from scratch.
It was at the community center where we spoke with resident Kevin Wilson.
It's like this big cloud of smoke come by and then look out the window and felt the heat hit me in my face. I was scared.
Wilson and his mother fled their home at 200 Remsen Street. He says he doesn't know when or if he'll be able to go back, but he's thankful for the Red Cross.
They give me money so I can survive, and I'm appreciative of that.
Now, the Red Cross says it assisted 16 adults and 2 children tonight. We're live in Cohoes. I'm Lindsay DeLucia, CBS 6 News.
All right, thank you very much for the update, Lindsay. The fire and the aftermath have had a tremendous impact on the city. Right now, National Grid is reporting more than 1,000 customers in Cohoes are experiencing power outages. National Grid estimates that some of that power will be restored by about 2 a.m. And the fire is affecting transportation in the city right now. CDTA announced that it will reroute 2 bus lines, the 182 and the 522. They both go through Cohoes. CDTA says it expects to keep those buses rerouted right through the morning.
Until today, the fire to end all fires in Cohoes happened nearly 30 years ago in 1988, and winds played a role in that fire too. It was May 1988. Flames ripped through the same general area, Remsen, Mohawk, and Howard Streets, leveling 10 homes and 2 businesses, the Cohoes Carpet Center and Mara's Pharmacy. That was Assemblyman John McDonald's family business, damaged again today. Like today, 15-mile-an-hour gusts made things worse, sending power lines crashing into streets and cars. And like today, no one was seriously hurt, but that fire was an inferno.
The heat was so intense that we had to get out of the store because we were afraid for our lives. That we just had to get out of here.
The fire took over 5 hours for an army of firefighters from all over to bring it under control. It was later declared an arson, and the damage estimated at $1 million alone to the businesses destroyed. 64 people were left homeless.
Weather certainly always plays a factor in a high-stakes emergency situation like this fire. Chief Meteorologist Steve LaPointe is here now to give us some context of what the firefighters were dealing with on this windy afternoon.
All right, Greg, yeah, several environmental factors that certainly did not favor the situation today. One was the fact that the air was so dry with dew points in the teens and mid-20s, but the bigger factor, of course, was the environmental wind, which was strong out of the south 15-20 and at times gusting 25 to 35. But what likely happened in Cohoes was that the fire itself produced its own weather environment because it burned so hot that superheated air rushing out of the top of the fire had to be replaced by air surrounding it, and that air rushed in. We likely had gusts 40, 45, maybe even 50, and that was just due to the environment that the fire itself caused. So it was a self-sustaining type scenario until the fire was knocked down enough to reduce the heat, which then ultimately reduced the winds. But a pretty awful situation in downtown Cohoes, with the fire itself likely enhancing the wind, which then went to enhance the fire.
All right, thank you for the insight, Steve. We broke the story and others throughout the day with our CBS 6 News app. You can download the app today on your smartphone for all the latest and breaking news in the capital region and